Well, hello there. This is Lunar. Good to see you. Over from the Asomniac vlog collaboration. And for this week, we're doing something a little bit different. Those of us over at Asomniacs are going forth out into the wonderful world of the internet, seeking out other asexual vlog collaborations, picking a video that we find particularly interesting and responding to it. We're doing this for a couple of different reasons. Namely, first off, that we're fairly new in the scene. Asomnics has only been around for a little while now, so we're kind of getting our foot in the door, going out saying hi, letting people know that we're here, getting them a little bit used to us. So that's number one. Number two, we're also hoping to inspire a little bit more dialogue between the different collaborations, getting some discussion around the topics that we find interesting. Because really, we all have different opinions about these topics. We may have different experiences that relate to them. So I think having a dialogue back and forth between different people, even across separate collaborations, is an awesome thing to have. So we're hoping maybe to inspire a little bit of that elsewhere. So for this week, I have chosen to go off of a video that Random Dent over at the Dapper Ace posted regarding understanding and how it fits into discussions between different groups of people. Now, I'm a huge fan of Dent. Love your work, Dent. And I find this topic in particular fascinating. As a philosopher of sorts, I think that really has a lot of implications about human communication and really conveying one's experiences to others. So just to recap Den's video a little bit, and for those of you who haven't seen it, I highly recommend go over to Dapper Ace, check them out, watch Den's video about understanding. It's great. I'm rather picky, so you know it's good. And so really just to recap it, Dent was saying that when people are discussing, whether it's like in this instance, asexuals and sexuals talking about sexuality, how many times people fall back on this really underhanded technique of taking understanding like some sort of magic silver bullet and throwing it at their opponent in the discussion and hoping that it will just win the argument. The logic being that if you claim somebody else doesn't understand you, then they can't make an argument. They can't understand you. They haven't felt what it's like to be you, so clearly they are automatically defeated. The day is won, the battle is over, and everybody rejoices. Now there's a pretty big flaw. Something that easy cannot be true. Dent pointed out pretty well that there's this disconnect between understanding and accepting. Now, I'm not going to just completely rehash what Dent said because Dent probably put it a lot better than I ever could. So I'm just going to add to it how I feel philosophically. Now, I'm inclined to be a very harsh skeptic. I am a self-proclaimed solipsist. For those of you who aren't familiar with solipsism as a philosophy, I'm not going to get into it. This is an asexual collaboration, not a philosophical one, but in layman's terms, really, it's just this idea that one can be completely skeptical about everything around them. The people around them just really doubt every single thing, except for the fact that they're doubting. Go figure. But coming from that perspective, it's interesting because I take it even a step further, and from where I'm coming from, I don't think one can truly understand anybody else. Really, when we're talking about our sensory experiences, taste, touch, sound, sight, all those things, when we talk about them, we can't directly convey what it's like for us. We can describe it with words, but we can't directly beam our sensory experience to somebody else. Like, I won't ever be able to understand what it feels like for somebody else to have sex. It's not possible. I mean, I could have it myself. I could have the experience and reflect upon what it felt like for me, but really I can't understand what it's like for anybody else. They can describe it, but ultimately there's a disconnect. There is a brick wall you hit where words only go so far, where we try to shove all of this sensory experience into the container that is language and ship it out. And really, a lot of it falls through the cracks. There's just a very, very vast amount that we cannot convey through just syllables, through letters, anything that we have access to. So really, using this silver bullet of understanding to automatically win arguments is just utter folly. It's silly when you think about it. Really, we can't understand each other on a fundamental level. What we're trying to go for when we have these discussions, when we recount our experiences, is to get some level of relation, some level of acceptance. When somebody else eats a pear and talks about what it's like, I'll never have access to them eating that pear. I won't have that taste. I myself can eat a pear, reflect upon it, how much I like that pear, and really I don't actually. I think they're all right. But no offense to you people out there that really like pears. It's cool. Don't worry about it. But I don't particularly care for them myself. So I can reflect on it, and maybe I can relate to somebody else that doesn't like pears, but ultimately, there will still be this disconnect. So to shove it in someone else's face that they don't understand doesn't really mean anything. That's really not what we're going for here. We're going for some sort of method to convey what our experiences are like and to have some sort of common experience in the whole human condition and to try and accept each other. Now, really, I can fathom what it's like for somebody to eat a pear, to have sex. I can understand it in my head that they might have a positive reaction to sex, to pears, to whatever. They might have a positive reaction on any scale. I can accept that, and I don't fault them for it. Really, that's the best we can hope for, I think. That's really what we're ultimately striving for, is to get to that point where we can accept it. Understanding, trying to fault people for not having access to this information that really nobody does is silly. It sets the discussion back. It gets us no closer to reaching this common relation, this common acceptance of each other. Because we're all just trying to be happy. We're all trying to go forth and experience things that are pleasing to us. So once we accept that we can never directly understand what it is like for somebody else to be happy, the sooner we can get to this point where we can accept what it's like. Because we have no way of verifying whether they're lying or not, but if we don't trust each other, then we're not going to get anywhere, and the discussion is fruitless entirely. So that's really what I wanted to say on the topic. Just getting another perspective on there. That's why I think it's great to have multiple people address these topics so that we can get different viewpoints, different ways of approaching a particular topic. So thank you, Dent, for providing this wonderful line of discussion for me to carry off on. I appreciate it greatly. Maybe next time I come around, I'll have material of my own. Sorry about that. I'm just kind of, stealing your thunder there. But maybe, perhaps, other people out there, other people in the different collaborations and whatnot, we can get some dialogue going back and forth here. It would be great. Let's come swing by Somniacs, check us out. I know we're the new kids on the block, so to speak. But I like to think that we have some pretty interesting things to say, so feel free to come check us out. So thank you all for watching. It's the conclusion of another fabulous Lunar Wednesday, hopefully. I'll be back in another 14 days or so, so until then, take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching, and ta-ta.